It was exactly 2:43 in the morning when you looked at the clock. You were lying in bed, exhausted, yet your mind was wide awake. Your chest felt tight, as if an invisible weight was pressing down on you in the dark. The thoughts in your head were screaming louder than the silence of the room. It started over something small, something that hadn't even happened yet. Just a random thought drifting by, but your brain grabbed it and twisted it into a disaster. That is the cruel nature of overthinking. It does not care if a threat is real or imagined. It simply wants to keep you ready for a catastrophe that isn't there. Anxiety is more than just feeling nervous before a big event. It is your body bracing itself for a crash that never actually comes. Most people around you never see it happening because you look calm on the outside. Inside, however, your mind is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour and you cannot find the brakes. This isn't just a mental struggle. It is deeply physical and utterly exhausting. It drains your energy until you feel hollowed out. But the moment you understand why your brain does this, everything starts to make sense. You realize you aren't broken. You are just operating on an ancient setting. Overthinking is almost never random behavior. It is a form of survival built into your biology. Your brain was designed with one primary job above all others: to keep you safe. It is wired to predict threats, prepare for the worst, and scan the horizon for danger. Back when we lived in caves, this hyper-vigilance kept us alive by warning us of predators. But now, thousands of years later, the threats have changed completely, yet your brain operates on the same old software. You are no longer dodging wild animals. You are dodging rejection, failure, and judgment. Your brain treats a delayed text message like a threat to your actual survival. It sounds irrational when you say it out loud, but to your nervous system, the danger feels real. The more you worry, the more your brain thinks it is helping you survive. So it repeats the process, looping the fear over and over again. It sends more thoughts and terrifying scenarios just to keep you sharp. It is like a safety drill that never ends, a siren that won't stop wailing inside your head. What is worse is what happens to your wiring over time. Every time you overthink, you strengthen those specific pathways in your brain. You are teaching it that panic is the correct response to uncertainty. So, overthinking becomes your default setting for every quiet moment. It is not because you are weak or incapable. It is simply because you have been living in survival mode for too long. Most people never realize that their brain isn't trying to ruin their peace. It is desperately trying to protect them. Knowing that simple fact is where the healing begins. Anxiety is not something that stays locked away in your head. It lives in your body, settling deep into your muscles and your breath. When your mind senses danger, your body immediately reacts to the signal. Your heart beats faster to pump blood, preparing you to run or fight. Your breath gets shallow and rapid, and your muscles tense up tight. All of this happens from a single thought because your brain doesn't distinguish between real and imagined threats. If it feels unsafe, your body prepares for a fight to the death instantly. But here's the hardest part of the experience to navigate. There is no fight to fight. There is no tiger to run from, and no enemy to battle. You are left sitting there with all that adrenaline and nowhere for it to go. It builds up inside you, buzzing under your skin until you feel like you might explode. You try to calm down, but your body is already engaged and ready for action. You try to think logically, but logic fails when your nervous system has been hijacked by fear. That is why grounding matters so much, not just mentally but physically. Breathing slowly signals safety to the vagus nerve and slows the heart rate. Relaxing your jaw sends a message that the threat has passed. Noticing what is around you pulls you out of the internal storm. You have to get out of your head and back into your body. When your body finally feels safe, your brain starts to follow the lead. The alarm bells quiet down and the fog begins to lift. Overthinking is not just constant thinking. It is circular, repetitive thinking that goes nowhere. You go over the same problem again and again without making progress. You look for clarity that never comes, no matter how hard you dig. You replay old conversations, dissecting every tone and awkward pause. You imagine worst-case scenarios that get darker with every repetition. You overanalyze things that already happened or things that haven't happened at all. Here is the catch. Your brain thinks it is solving something. It feels productive, like you are working toward a solution by worrying. But it isn't work, it is a loop and a trap. You are not finding peace or answers. You are feeding your fear. You tell yourself that if you can just think it through one more time, it will make sense. but that next thought doesn't fix it. It just pulls you deeper until you don't even remember the original worry. You become stuck in the motion of worrying itself rather than solving the problem. This loop is exhausting, draining your energy faster than physical labor. Recognizing it and catching yourself mid-spiral is where you find your power. Not to shame yourself for doing it, but simply to notice it is happening. You can gently say to yourself, "Hey, I don't need to go there right now." You can give yourself permission to step off the merry-go-round and breathe. You do not need to figure everything out today or right this second. You do not need to have all the answers to feel safe. You just need to give your brain a break from trying to protect you from a future that doesn't exist yet. Here is something most overthinkers struggle with deeply: the need for control. You don't want control because you are bossy. You want it because uncertainty feels dangerous. Not knowing what happens next feels like standing on the edge of a cliff. So you try to plan every single outcome in your head. You anticipate every reaction, rehearsing what you will say and do. You prepare for every possible version of what might go wrong so you aren't surprised. It feels safer that way, like armor plating your life. It feels like you are in charge of your own destiny. You think you won't get blindsided by pain if you see it coming. But here's the hard truth we often ignore about anxiety. Overthinking gives you no control. It just gives you anxiety and steals your present moment. You aren't protecting yourself from the future. You are paralyzing yourself today. Life is inherently messy, unpredictable, and wild. It is completely outside our full control, no matter how hard we think. That realization is terrifying at first, but it is also incredibly freeing. If you cannot control everything, maybe you do not have to try so hard. Maybe your job isn't to predict every storm that might appear. Maybe your job is to trust yourself to handle it when it comes. You have to trust that you are resilient enough to survive the unknown. That is the shift from trying to control the storm outside to staying grounded inside. That is what real strength looks like. The quiet knowing that you will be okay regardless. You are not broken, and you are certainly not too much for feeling this way. You are not weak for feeling overwhelmed by the noise of life. You are a human with a nervous system that has been through a lot. You have a mind that is trying its absolute best to keep you safe. But healing doesn't come from fighting your anxiety or hating your brain. It comes from understanding it and showing it compassion instead of anger. It comes from slowing down when the world tells you to run. It means noticing the spiral before it drags you down into the dark. It means gently stepping out of it one slow breath at a time. It comes from realizing a powerful truth: you do not have to believe every thought. Not every fear is a prophecy, and not every worry is a fact. Not every scenario your brain invents is worth rehearsing. Not every moment requires a reaction or a solution from you. You can sit with discomfort and still be okay. The more you practice that gentle refusal to spiral, the better it gets. You will reclaim your life from the grip of overthinking bit by bit. It won't be perfect, and it certainly won't be instant. But it will be real, and it will be honest. Most importantly, your life will be yours again. So if no one has told you this lately, listen closely. You are doing better than you think you are. You are not alone in this struggle, not even close. If this spoke to you, even just a little bit, I want you to know you aren't alone. If you want more videos like this, one more real conversations and honest truths, hit that subscribe button. Stick around for a while because this is a safe space. We unpack the hard stuff together so we don't have to carry it alone. If you know someone who is stuck in their own mind right now, send this to them. They might need to hear it more than you think. Thanks for being here, truly.